Today, friend of the show, Capital FM host Chris Stark revealed his secret battle with testicular cancer in a moving post on Instagram. He said he wanted to share the news because, in his words, he felt like an idiot for not spotting the signs earlier on. His post has opened up a conversation about checking yourself regularly.
We're obviously sending all our love and support to Chris and all of his family. But it was after checking herself that 57-year-old Nicola Deadman was diagnosed with breast cancer, meaning she needed a single mastectomy. The operation left Nicola without a nipple on her right breast.
But today, permanent makeup artist Emily Ponte will be perfecting a realistic nipple tattoo for Nicola. The pair are here to carry out the treatment live, alongside Dr. Zoe to tell us more about the process. Good morning to you all, ladies.
Morning.
I think I might have just nicknamed you Nippler as well.
It's really good.
There's Nicolas and there's nipples involved. It's going to be quite a morning.
Yeah, it is. First of all, Zoe, let's talk to you first of all. It's so important that people check themselves, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, thank you to Chris for sharing something so personal, because it will save lives. It's that reminder that whether you're male, female, any gender, we need to be checking ourselves. It's the best defence that we have against cancer, because if cancer is detected early, then we stand the best chance of survival.
And it's men and women too. That's the thing. You should both sexes should be checking their chest.
Yeah, absolutely. So breast cancer can affect men and women. Yeah. So, you know, we all need to be checking our breasts and chests roughly once a month. Get into the habit of doing it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You know, the first time you're not trying to find a cancer, or you're just getting used to what's normal for you, which means that if there is a change, you've got the best chance of detecting it.
Okay. So Nicola here went through a mastectomy. Can you just explain the differences with various mastectomies?
Yeah, so mastectomy means removal of the breast. Yeah. So a sort of standard mastectomy, a total mastectomy, means removing the breast tissue, the skin overlying and the nipple. There are various different variations. Sometimes you can have a nipple-sparing mastectomy where the nipple remains, or a skin-sparing, especially people who are having prophylactic mastectomy, so people who are at high risk of getting breast cancer but don't have it, who can have a reconstruction immediately, then that might be offered. Sometimes people need a more radical mastectomy, which can even mean removing the muscles underlying the breast tissue. But in most cases, for people who are being treated for breast cancer, like Nicola, the nipple would be removed and can be reconstructed at a later date after all the treatment's completed and the breast has been reconstructed.
Right. So, Nicola, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You look so beautiful and glowing with health. What was life like before your diagnosis?
Yeah, I was out there enjoying life, living it to the full. Just having fun.
Yeah. And then what happened? How did you find out about it? Because it was actually you that discovered it.
Yeah. Well, I'd had a check-up in March, had a mammogram and an ultrasound and got the all clear. Then come September, I just noticed this side, the nipple was sinking in.
Right.
And I thought, first of all, given like my age, I thought, is it something to do with the menopause? So I left it a week and it happens again. So that's when then I made the phone call, and it was the correct phone call.
Yeah. And you went and you got that diagnosis and you found out that it was cancerous. How did you feel when that suddenly became apparent, Nicola?
It was a shock, but I'm under the Royal Marsden in South Kent, who were absolutely amazing. So I knew straight away I was in the safest hands ever, and that they said this is treatable and curable. So once I knew that, it was like, OK, let's get this show on the road. Let's sort out this little problem and get it gone.
I love your positive attitude. It's literally like, let's sort out this little problem. Let's just deal with it. So what was the course of treatment? So first of all, you had an operation.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So I had the mastectomy in December 2023 with instant reconstruction, and I had the Ep flap, so it's where they took my stomach muscles and stomach skin and rebuilt me. Right. And then where they'd removed 6 lymph nodes, unfortunately, it was in all 6 lymph nodes. So straight away they said, well, you've got to have chemo. So I had, in the February, 8 rounds of chemo, which took me up to June. Yeah. Because it had been in the lymph nodes, they then wanted to do the axillary clearance and remove the rest of my lymph nodes. So I had that the 10th of July, and then the 19th of August, I started radiotherapy, and I had 15 rounds of radiotherapy to the 6th of September, and then I went back to work on the 16th of September.
Wow.
She's a hero.
Just get on with it.
She's a hero,
and
gladiator.
how have you been since then? What's been that process like?
to be honest, if you probably ask my friends, I've not really changed. I'm still go out and party and still enjoy life, and even more so now.
Yeah, quite right too,
so.
because there's a value to it you can really appreciate. But of course, you had the mastectomy and you had the nipple removed as well.
Yes.
So is that something that you've been considering? Is what you could do about that?
Yeah, it's something that I've wanted done, but you have to go on a waiting list for it, and obviously because it's cosmetic and not urgent, hospitals obviously want to deal with the cancer issues, which understandably that does come first. So yeah, I'm just on a waiting list to have this done. And I've got this opportunity to get it done today.
Right, and the person doing that is Emily. Good morning.
Morning,
Emily.
Good
morning.
So tell us a little bit about the procedure and what exactly you're going to be doing.
So the procedure is like a realistic tattoo.
Right.
And we are, using kind of highlights and shading to create that kind of depth, so it looks like a 3D areola stroke nipple.
Right.
So obviously, because you've had Nicola's had a single mastectomy, she still has the other nipple on that side. So the key is to try and match that together. So trying to match up colours, match up obviously the positioning, which we have done some measurements already.
You first met a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? Had the
We
initial
did,
consultation.
yeah. So we had the consultation where we go through, obviously all the medical history, what Nicola's been through. Again, you said positive, that she's just amazing.
Brimming with it. If you could bottle your positivity, that's what you want to do.
So we went through the consultation, and that's when I was going through, just getting those rough measurements just to see how, and then going through colours and things, so I know kind of what I'm going to be using on her. And that's usually what the consultation process is.
And Nicola, as Emily said, it's important that we kind of match both breasts up. So you're okay with
I'm
this
really
this morning?
happy. I can't wait for it to get
You're
done.
very comfortable to do it live on television.
Yes.
I mean, doing this, Nicola, is an extraordinary thing for you to share, and hopefully will make everybody else at home, sitting at home, feel sort of more empowered to feel like they could have it done as well.
That's what I'm hoping.
I think there's still so much stigma around breasts, isn't there? But they're a part of our bodies, and we are going to, Nicola's, very brave. We're going to see the reconstructed breast and briefly see Nicola's other breast today as well, so that people can understand.
Okay. Well, Emily, if you'd like to get started, and Nicola.
Yeah, so we're going to show just what we've done just so far. So obviously this is the breast that we're going to be working on. And so as you can see here, this is obviously where she's had the operation, the DEP flap. This is just a little mock-up. Obviously, it's not going to look like that when it's finished. That's just purely like a guide. And then obviously we are just going to show the other side just quickly, just so you can kind of see. Now, Nicola's other breast is actually quite pale. So what we may do is actually match up a little bit that colour. So although I want to match that up, I feel like this needs a little bit of additional colour as well, just to kind of get it as close as possible.
So you will add colour to the right breast to match, the left breast to match the right breast?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I will do this first, and I'll work with some kind of light sort of pinks, and get that initial template on, and then obviously we will then match up to the other side. Okay. So that's kind of.
And in terms of, we were talking permanent tattoo. This isn't like a tattoo if you're going to go to a tattoo parlour, is it? What's the sort of the scenario and the pain?
It's not. It's very similar. I feel like there's a misconception in the industry that we do permanent makeup, stroke semi-permanent makeup, and tattooing is different. It's pretty much the same. We use tattoo pens, the exact same. We use the pigments the same. There's different variations of pigments and inks that you can use. Tattooists might call it slightly differently. But when it comes to putting it into the skin, the depth is the same. So it's a tattoo. It's a cosmetic tattoo.
Tattoos tend to hurt, though.
Yes, I was just about to ask that question.
I don't have a tattoo, but all of my friends that have had them say that they aren't comfortable things to go through.
Again, it depends on the technician. It depends on how they work, on how superficial the work, or how... I'm quite a light-handed worker, so I tend to work quite light, but just add layers over time. Also, when we're dealing with a mastectomy, you'll find that tissue is numb. You don't feel nothing. So she may feel a little bit on the other side, but we're not going to do much on the other side, because we're just going to add a little bit to the areola area. And I work very lightly, so it's actually not really painful at all. But this side, she shouldn't feel anything.
And what's the response normally like from women after you do this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's very mixed, but it's an emotional journey. I think from my point of view, I just feel honoured to be able to give back, and you'll make me cry, and to be able to just almost be that end part of their journey, because I think they've been through so much, and obviously it has been such an emotional ride. So, yeah.
Should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be left weeping women.
We introduce a little bit of pain, then it might stop everyone crying.
I cry when I see people cry, so...
If you want to sit back...
yes, so we're going to take this one off, because we have a disposable gown.
Yes.
So when I'm working, because we're doing, obviously, tattooing, we're piercing the skin. So I'm going to pop this somewhere.
Here,
thank you.
Yeah.
All right then, Nicola.
Yeah, good.
OK, so obviously I'm going to start on this side. We've got our measurements already.
Yeah.
So it's really a case of just kind of reinforcing some of those areas, just to give me a bit more of a template. I change needles. I do, various different techniques throughout my...
It's incredible that you can do this, though. Absolutely incredible.
OK, so...
So I imagine that you've seen a fair few sort of reconstructions like this and bits and pieces, so you'll have seen the difference that it makes to the patient as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as Emily was saying, it really is that final stage in the journey, because often women will have the breast reconstructed and it's even if the NHS service is operating perfectly and they don't have to wait, women will still wait at least 3 months, usually more like 6 months before they have the breast reconstruction. That's because once the breast is reconstructed, over the next few months, it will settle into its final position. So in order to work out the correct placement for the nipple, so it really is that kind of final bit of the journey before they then go and, get on with their new life.
But it also must make the biggest kind of mental difference to them as well, because it's never just about the physical, it's never just about the outward appearance.
100%, the quality of life, and, we're still quite, there's more to be done, because I think when it comes to supporting women on that journey, particularly, women of colour, when it comes to ensuring that another thing you can get a silicone nipple that can be glued into place. They last about 3 months, but, we're now on the cusp of making sure that there's a full range of skin tones, etc.
So, Emily, just sort of explain what it is that you're doing.
So here I'm doing, obviously, where I've got my template with the pencil in. Now I just want to reinforce that very gently, so it's just getting that little template in. Like I say, at the end, it's not going to look flat.
Yes.
Afterwards, I am going to be starting to use some shading and highlights throughout to create that kind of depth and 3D appearance.
Yeah.
So I just go very lightly just to check. So you can see already I've got like a template in there. So I've got really lightly. How do you feel, Nicola?
Fine.
Yeah.
Can't feel a thing.
You can't feel anything at all? Excellent.
So can't feel a thing.
We're going to let you guys carry on, let you work a little bit of magic, and we'll check back in with you later.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're amazing, Nicola.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you.
Earlier, we met 57-year-old cancer survivor Nicola, who this morning has had a nipple reconstruction tattoo by expert Emily Ponte.
Yeah, Dr. Zoe's alongside Emily and Nicola. So it was more or less over an hour you've been having the procedure done. You just got to have a good look at it downstairs. This is the moment that sort of you were able to really examine, Nicola, how the tattoo's looking. Let's just see this.
Go for it.
Oh, wow. That's looking human again.
What do you think of the colour? Oh, bless you.
You've been so courageous and brave, Nicola. A testament to your energy and who you are in life is about living, and you were very honest about being able to share this experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you want to have a proper look at it as well, but how has it been for you and how do you feel about it?
I can't thank her enough what she's done. It's actually been a pleasure. It's just, I didn't feel anything when she was doing it. It's like, I was having a little lay down, basically.
Not quite the same as usual lay down, for live telly. Emily, there's a moment there, though, when you heard Nicola say, it looks human. That's such an important sort of bit of credit and sort of identifying the reality of that for...
It's just, it's such, like I say, it's such a humbling process that we go through, and it is emotional because it's that final stage, when they've been through so much, and then to kind of get that final... I think we just take for granted having two of things, two nipple, two areola areas. We kind of take that for granted, I think. Yeah. So when someone has lost that, just being able to give that back is just, it's amazing.
Well, how will it affect your self-confidence, do you think, Nicola? Because we were talking with Zoe earlier, and it's not just the physical thing that you go through with cancer, it's also the mental stress.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it will make me feel more confident. I can't describe it. Like I said, it just makes me feel human again. I've got my body back.
Yeah. Zoe, what should people be doing to make sure that they're checking themselves?
Yeah, I mean, the advice is to check roughly once a month. Nicola wanted me to mention she didn't have a lump, she had a lobular breast cancer, which usually doesn't cause a lump. So it's not just lumps you're looking for, it's any changes to the skin, to the nipple, any puckering in of the skin or the nipple, which is what Nicola had, or any changes to the size or shape of the breast. And both men and women need to be checking. I think people often get bogged down with how do you check? What's the correct technique? How do you do it? Do you know what? Doesn't matter as long as you're doing it in a way that you're checking the entire breast. So you can do something called a spiral technique, start in the middle, around the nipple, and feel all the area all the way around in circles, including the top bit of the chest, just up above the collarbone and the armpit. For men, it might be easier to, I call it the lawnmower technique. Make sure you do all that area. If you have larger breasts, imagine your breast in 4 quarters. That can make it easier. And Dr. Sarah's got a tutorial on the This Morning app where she demonstrates how to do that with larger breasts.
And I think with men or with women, it's also just to be vigilant. Be vigilant of changes, because that's what you really notice. Any changes that you see, any changes that you feel, don't just put it to the back of your mind, go and see a doctor.
And I think if it's not normal for you, then go and get it checked out.
Yeah.
And people have changes with their menstrual cycle before menopause. So, in that case, if you think it might just be down to your cycle, monitor it for 2 weeks. But if it hasn't gone away after 2 weeks, get it checked.
Emily, can I just ask, how long will the tattoo last? Will Nicola need some sort of moments to come back and have it
So she'll
updated?
come back in about 6 to 8 weeks for a kind of touch-up. It's almost that perfection stage. They tend to fade a little bit upon healing. Obviously, when you have had a mastectomy, you're dealing with scar tissue. So scar tissue can be quite unpredictable as well. It's obviously a little bit more tender, more sensitive, a little bit tougher to work on. So you might find a little bit more fade in, so that second stage. And then after that, you're looking at, it lasts for years. It's in the skin kind of relatively indefinitely, but it will just fade over time. So, anything between 2 to kind of 5 years is you'd come back for a touch-up. So it's very much a personal thing, and as how it might be they want to come back and get them a bit darker or but I just wanted to highlight that it's just kind of almost raising awareness for this service as well. I think I'm really shocked at the amount of people that come into my clinic that do not know that this is available. And myself, as well as lots of amazing artists up and down the country, do offer this for free. We do monthly free clinics, and just want people to reach out really, because it's it does build up that confidence. So
and the difference that's made, you can already see it in you there.
And we haven't actually even finished it either.
You've not quite finished it.
Not quite finished it. It's kind of we want to get a little bit more in there, but
It's been lovely to have you sparkling on the sofa.
An amazing teamwork of ladies, right? Collection of ladies right there on the sofa.
And the fact that I christened you Nicola this morning as well.
You're going to have to rename me.
I like that.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
From the House of Commons to the gates of the scriptwriter's son's school, creator Jack Thorne is here now to tell us about the incredible reaction that the drama has had. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations. It's so rare that something that's written so brilliantly, shot so beautifully, creates such a conversation amongst everybody. Doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is, so many people are talking about this show. Did you ever expect it to be that huge?
No, not to any degree. It's been overwhelming, to be honest. What I did know was that I was working with the most extraordinary group of people and that we'd made something that we were incredibly proud of. And Netflix were excited by it, and then they put it on and it's just exploded, and we're all sort of reeling from it.
I bet. It's a bit overwhelming, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And I'm not used to it. I've been writing TV for 20 years. I've been trying to write drama that has impact for 20 years, and then this show has just sort of slammed through many doors that I've wanted to be open for a long time.
You and Stephen have this extraordinary relationship, which is really, really palpable. Can I ask a question? because, of course, as Kat said, it's beautifully shot, it's extraordinarily acted, it's so well written. What came first? Did the idea of doing a one-shot drama come before the content, or was it the content that Stephen had that then sort of lent itself to the one-shot drama?
So Stephen and Phil Barantini, our amazing director, made this film Boiling Point. And Plan B, which is Brad Pitt's company, brought Phil in to talk to them and said, what about trying to do something in the television space? What about trying to do a one-shot TV drama? And he said, oh, that could be really interesting. And he took it to Stephen, and Stephen said, I'd like to look at knife crime. And that was the starting point of all our conversations. And then, thankfully, he brought me into the mix, and I was like, yes, please, show me where to sign.
It's amazing, isn't it, how they all sort of complement each other so brilliantly.
And, like, right place, right time, too. How much did you know about toxic masculinity before you started writing, and how much did you then reveal the layers of the onion and suddenly understand more?
So when Stephen first talked to me about it, the one sort of stipulation he made was, I don't want this to be a drama that blames the parents.
Yes, which I think is really clever.
It's really important.
Yes.
And that thing of just going, this is not going to be about an alcoholic, abusive dad. This is not going to be about controlling mum. This is not going to be that sort of story. We want to look inside this all. But that then left an issue of how do we create this boy? And we wanted it to be that blame is diffuse, that it's not just as simple as going, it's this, it's that, it's the other. But we did need more than we had. And someone that worked with me, Mariella Johnson, said, I think you should look at incel culture. And I had some understanding of it and some, I'd read articles about it, but I hadn't really gone down those holes. And then I spent a long time in a lot of very strange places, looking at a lot of strange content. And the thing that surprised me was how attractive it was.
Which is so frightening.
It's so frightening. Yeah. And that thing of going, if I was a 13-year-old boy and I was told there is a reason why you feel unattractive, there's a reason why you feel isolated, there's a reason why you're not sure how to talk in certain situations, and that's because the world is against you. And the reason why the world is against you is because 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men, that this world is female-dominated, and you need to find ways to reset the balance. And the more of these videos I watched, the more convincing I found it. And that's when I started to work out how we could write Jamie.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a father yourself, of course.
Yes.
We've all got boys. Like, my boys are sort of a bit older, your boys are not very far off.
Mine's
Jamie's age.
9 and 6, so I'm like 4 years out.
Yeah, my boy's almost 9.
Yes.
So I'm in exactly the same place. Exactly the same place.
And there will be parents who are watching it and undoubtedly have watched it, and it will be terrifying. I mean, it's up the anxiety levels for parents trying to navigate those things.
Yes.
There's a responsibility that comes with that, Jack, isn't there?
There is. And what we're not saying with this show is that there's loads and loads of Jamies out there, that there's, that because your son is in his room and he's shut the door, that means that he's going to inflict harm on another person. We don't want to be a show that suggests that. Jamie is a product of a lot of different things, but at the same time, being aware of what your kid is consuming, being aware of what's out there, I think is really important. And it's awoken anxiety in me, and it's awoken conversations with my wife about how we handle all this and how we help Elliot through it all.
The fact that it's been talked about in government, the fact it's been talked about absolutely everywhere is testament to that.
Did that amazing speech too.
Yeah, Gareth Southgate, the Dimbleby lecture. I asked the viewers for some questions for you.
Brilliant.
I'd like to share these with me. Sharon says, are we going to get a second series exploring Katie's story? And Kathy along that saying, the last episode, it feels like it's left it open for more. I know you're still reeling right now from the impact of this, but would the two of you be up for trying to do more if the opportunity was there?
Well, I'd say two things to that. The first is, I don't think we're the right people to tell Katie's story.
Okay.
So I think there are other makers out there that could tell beautiful dramas about Katie or girls like Katie, and that those shows should be made. Our aim was to try and tell Jamie's story as fully as we possibly could. And maybe trying to tell her story would dilute that in some way, or maybe we would be inadequate to that task. The second thing in terms of a second series is I think Jamie's story is finished. I don't think there's anywhere more we can take Jamie. So I don't think there is a series 2. We'd love to explore the one-shot format in another way. We'd love to tell other stories with it, but I don't think a series 2 of Adolescence is quite right for us.
It's so interesting how you say Jamie's story is finished, but so many other little boys and little girls' stories are just beginning.
Yes.
Where would you like to see this going? What would you like to see the influence of this amazing drama?
I hope what this show does is it doesn't provide easy answers. It doesn't say, this is the way to solve this, this is the way to do that. I hope what it provokes is conversations on the sofa, conversations in classrooms, hopefully conversations in government. You know, when I was a kid, watching EastEnders with my mum and talking to her about what was on EastEnders that week, they were the best conversations we had. They were the best. They were the bits where we got inside what it is to be a human, you know, and what you... And those have been the best emails I've got about this too, has been like people saying, I've had conversations with my kid that I've never had before because of this show. And that is where I hope our sweet spot is, in creating conversation.
You've done exactly that. Anthony says this is one of the best series I've watched in a long time. Great acting. It was real, raw, emotional. The strong message was loud and clear. The ending was perfect. Susan, Adolescence is absolutely brilliant. A sensitive eye-opener for all. Thank you for everything. Jack,
That's
honestly,
very kind.
it is an extraordinary bit of drama. We've loved it. And we will continue to talk about it as well. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. You can watch Adolescence on Netflix now, and Owen Cooper, who plays Jamie, will be live on Thursday.
Can't wait to meet him as well.
He's amazing.
So much to talk to.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
We're having presents already and we haven't even started
This is
chatting
amazing.
yet.
So hold on, Maggie, you've just given me this, or I pinched it. Tell me what's in here.
So 2 bracelets that I made and some confetti things from...
Actual golden buzzer confetti. That is really precious. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, and then Katie just gave me a headband as well that one of the mums has been making. Is that right?
Got loads of those.
Love
Gorgeous.
it. Love it. Thank you so much. Well, we've been joined now by Electric Umbrella founders Tom Billington and Mel Boda, alongside some of their incredible bandmates, Katie, Jamie, Maggie, Jonathan and Raphael. First of all, have to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was the most spectacular piece of TV. You were sat there with your kids.
Yeah.
I was sat there with my kids. We were all crying, all cheering.
You made us cry.
It was brilliant.
Thank you.
It was just the most remarkable thing
Thank you so
to
much.
watch. It was so joyous. How did it feel for all of you guys?
It felt like we've been doing this for 10 years. So every day we're out in schools, we're bringing people together, we're running sessions, we're building instruments, we're reimagining things and people and writing songs and all that. And that happens all day, pretty much every day of the week.
Yeah.
So for us, it was like a real moment of coming together, that all of that, suddenly people are starting to see us, see our guys as the rock stars that we actually are. And just, hopefully it'll mean next time they're interacting with someone who looks or sounds different or has a different a way of working, that they'll just have that little bit more of understanding of what it's all about.
But there was all of you on the stage as well, which was so powerful. And the fact that you did an original song as well. What was the song called and who wrote it?
What was the song?
It's called Acceptance, and it's basically all of our... And I start the first line.
I know, Katie, you were the first person to start. Were you not terrified?
A tiny bit terrified.
I would have been really...
Because, a tiny bit
because there's so many people out there as well. What did you think when you went on the stage and you saw all the audience and all those people?
It was very excited because you wouldn't expect such a big crowd of them to watch us, but it was very good and everyone had fun. So.
Listen, they didn't just watch you. They stood up, they clapped, they cheered,
they sang.
Cried, they loved it. They didn't just watch you.
Now, you were sitting in the audience, of course, right? And you have helped create Electric Umbrella. And I can't imagine how nervous you must have been, like a sort of expectant mum sitting and watching your family and you're there performing. And then to feel the energy around you must have been just fabulous.
It was amazing. I didn't actually know what to look at. I actually didn't watch the performance. I was watching the reaction of the audience. And it was the feeling, the energy in the room, that we could really feel it. Everybody was stamping their feet. felt like, this thunder for Electric Umbrella. It was so exciting. And I felt it was shocking. There was like a lag between everybody celebrating and me thinking, ooh, what's happening?
Yeah. And Jonathan, Mel just said that it was shocking. Did you ever expect Simon to stand up for the second time and press that golden buzzer?
Never in a billion years, triple billion years. I love Simon. And I love him even more now. I can't even, my brain can't even process it yet.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me.
Jamie,
it really is.
We were watching you perform on Saturday, and it was spectacular watching you. And I know that you think the way you look is important, isn't it, for a rock star?
Yeah, it is.
What did you think watching it back? How did you feel?
The way I feel is like being a rapper, because I made some in this book.
So you've got your raps there.
Yeah. And
Doesn't go anywhere without it, do you, Jamie?
Yeah. And also, the way I feel about that buzzer with someone called Man, it's like my idol.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's put you through to the
I
semi-finals
know.
as well.
He's actually quite a softie, I think,
Yeah.
Simon Cowell. Do you know
Despite
what I mean?
the hard experience.
He pretends to be really tough, but I
Yeah.
think he's actually quite a softie. Maggie, what was it like for you? Was it beyond your wildest dreams? And how were Ant and Dec with you? Do I need to phone them up and tell them? Were they behaving themselves?
Yeah.
What was the moment like when he pressed the buzzer and all the glitter started coming down?
Well, I thought he was going to say, sorry, I can't give you a golden buzzer. So it was all an ultra shock for me. But when he did, I was just really excited with everyone and immediately went to get some.
There was a great sense of togetherness, I think, is what we
Yeah.
can all say. That the young people from the school that were with us and our guys, we've all become very, very comfortable in each other's presence. And that, I think, really came across. You can see how cool that all of these kids were amongst all of us who are just these kind of like gregarious, different, we all look different, we all sound different, but the work that we've done in this, particularly in this one school, but in schools in general, has really helped for these young people to really kind of understand us for who we are.
I think it's a wonderful blend of lots of people from different backgrounds, different experiences. Raphael, you've been part of Electric Umbrella for quite a while now. What is it that you love most about being with these guys?
Well, it's just so amazing to be with them. They just teach you so much. They teach you that you should never judge people by their appearances and you should always accept them for who they are. And it's just amazing to have them in our school and, yeah, it's brilliant.
Where were you watching when the show went out live? Were you with your family? Were you all together?
We actually went to the Warner Brothers studios to watch
Yeah,
it.
Warner Brothers.
You went to the Warner Brothers Studios?
We're from Watford.
Of course,
It's a Watford thing. It's at Leavesden. So, yeah.
wow.
So we were looking for a space where we could all get together and someone at Warner Brothers said, you can come and...
Pretty rock and roll.
Here.
Yeah,
It was lovely,
and
wasn't it?
that was so nice of them getting. It was so nice of them to allow us to be there and watch it rather than
Have that moment together.
have that moment together, because it wouldn't be like that if it didn't happen.
So did everyone have a pint of butterbeer while you were watching?
It wasn't quite like that. It wasn't quite
I like the idea of
that.
it. But the question is, so I'm semi-final.
Yes.
Semi-final coming up.
Because the
happening?
song was one that you wrote yourself,
Yep.
which was a fabulous song anyway. I mean, it's a brilliant pop song. We've got Deacon Blue coming in later. You must speak to Ricky and
they
Lorraine
should do a
about
cover.
it.
It'd be great.
They're over there. I'm
Yeah.
sure they've seen it, but it's a beautifully constructed song anyway. What about the semi-final?
The great thing about Electric Umbrella, dare I say it, is that we've got so many good songs. We've been releasing stuff since 2017. Our first record came out, and we have got so many choices. So actually, we're a little spoilt for choice at the moment. So we'd be interested to see if people listen to our stuff, see which one they think we should do. We've got a pretty good idea of where it's going to go. We've got about a month now to kind of get that together. Easter kind of lands in the middle of that, so we've got to work around that.
Yeah.
But
So not too much chocolate then, because you've got a big performance
we've
coming
got
up.
a lot to do.
What to do?
Jamie, try and keep Jamie off the chocolate.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens next, you guys. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
It was a
and
very,
enjoy
very
every
special
single
moment, as
minute.
Britain's Got Talent can do. But to meet Electric Umbrella, what you represent and who you are is magical. Can't wait to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gold
Yeah.
as well.
Cheering you on for sure. Thank you, Jonathan.
you.
Thank you. Britain's Got Talent continues this Saturday at 7 p.m. on ITV1.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
All of that, though, our next guest's life was changed forever when she took an at-home DNA test.
Victoria Hill discovered that her biological father wasn't the man who raised her, but her mother's fertility doctor.
And there was one more devastating twist when she found out that her ex-boyfriend was actually her half-brother.
As she shares the shocking story, Victoria is joining us live from her home in Connecticut. Good morning to you, Victoria. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Good morning. I wanted to start off by saying, first of all, you were looking into your DNA background, not because you suspected something, but because you had medical conditions.
Yeah, there just had been some health things going on that I just was looking for some clarity on. You know, I was a little curious about, heritage, and I had heard about the commercial DNA testing being able to provide a whole host of information. And so I thought it would be helpful and maybe clue me into some health clues in approaching my doctors with what I had going on. Never in a million years did I think I would find out all that I had.
So you never suspected this at all. So what happened the day when you got all the information back?
Yeah, so it was a few days. I got the information and I very quickly just went to go look at the health stuff, and I had seen some half-siblings pop up, but I very quickly just dismissed it and thought it was an error, just, maybe it was some first or second cousins and it wasn't accurate, and so I kind of pushed it aside. But then I kept getting an email from a woman who I later found out was my half-sister saying, there's some information here. Let us know if you need or want to know more. And I, kind of thought it was like a 23andMe kind of gimmick, trying to get me to purchase the next plan up. But as she continued to push, she said, did your mother go to Yale Fertility Treatment Clinic to get help for fertility? And so when she had said that, it got my attention because I did know that much. I knew that my parents had struggled with fertility and went out to Yale to get help. And so she had my attention, and then she gave me the rest of the information, was that this doctor, my mother's fertility doctor, was in fact my biological father.
So, it's an extraordinary thing to hear that, Victoria, from us sitting here. Mm. How did it feel for you to suddenly get that information?
It was pretty surreal. It definitely took a little while to set in. I have to say that growing up, there was a part of me that felt a little different or distant. We used to have a joke that between my father and I that the only thing that was similar was our hands. So it was, in some weird ways, it kind of clicked, but then, it just seemed so bizarre, in the different stages of it. Not only is it not the man who raised my biological father, but my mother's doctor that she went to for over 8 years of treatment trying to conceive. And then kind of bringing her the news and sharing that with her. She was not aware of this as well. So it was something that we kind of sat through together a bit.
The idea, it's extraordinary, the idea that the doctor that was treating your mum for fertility used his own specimen to inseminate her, and also clearly what has become more and more apparent, lots and lots of other women too.
We know now over 80 doctors that have done this. So
it was quite a common practice. Were there no regulations about it, Victoria?
No, and there really still are not. And that's why we're fighting so more. And that's why I'm bringing this story out, is to raise the awareness so that we can get some better laws and protections regulations out there.
Your mum's doctor is called Dr. Caldwell. Have you ever spoken to him? I know he passed away quite recently, but did you ever speak to him? Did you ever find him? Did you ever go to his house?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple, I would say, days to a week after, I spent a lot of time trying to find information on him, and I figured out that he lived about 45 minutes from me. So I got in my car one day and I drove to his house. And I didn't really have much of a plan, but as I got there, I just felt like my body was going through the motions of just, pull up the driveway, go to the door, knock on the door, and I did. And so his wife let me in, which was very kind. I can only imagine what was going through her mind. And I talked to him, and that's where he very readily admitted that, yes, this is something he did. And he, did it for over probably 20 years. When you asked him how many times, he just kind of shook his head. He had no idea. And when you asked him why, he was in the business of making babies. And there wasn't a lot of remorse. There wasn't a lot of concern. It was just this very matter-of-fact way of answering.
So you had no sense of professional compromise or moral compromise over what he had done at all?
No, I mean, the impression that I got was just, your mother wanted a baby, she got a baby. Wow. It was just that this was, I believe he might, he was a big part of founding the Yale Fertility Clinic, and so this was his life, and I can only imagine, obviously, the extreme measures that he went through to make this program work, which creates this like cognitive dissonance, because on one hand, everybody asks, like, aren't you happy to be alive? And your mother wanted a child and she got a child. But on the other hand, I didn't want to be a product of fertility fraud. My mother didn't consent to his sperm. And I didn't consent to having, a growing number of siblings that will continue to grow, especially if he really did donate for over 20 years.
So you just mentioned then half siblings. How many do you know you have right now? And I think you're in very close proximity to each other. I think 4 you went to high school with.
Yeah, it's 25 right now that we know of, and just every few months the number just continues to grow. I went to elementary school with a half sibling, that we just recently learned about, and there was 4 siblings in the same high school. And I mean, this was within a maybe 50-minute radius. And a lot of us are in New England still.
Goodness me. And of course, one of the things about this that is all the more jaw-dropping is you sat talking with 2 or 3 of your friends about what you had discovered, and then one of them, who happened to have been an ex-boyfriend, realised that the same thing had happened to him as well.
Yeah. It felt, we figured it out. There's a high school reunion, and I started sharing the information with some close friends, and fast forward to a dinner where some of us continued to get together. And it was at that time that, as I'm telling this story, my high school boyfriend and now friend kind of started to look like he was turning something over in his head, because his mother had recently also told him that the reason why him and his brother, also a really good friend of mine, his mother went out for fertility treatment with his father. And so Yale was kind of it at the time. So we just kind of assumed that she must have gone to the same place. And, he ultimately called his mother, and his mother confirmed that the same doctor had done her procedure. And so then it was a waiting game, and we all just kind of sat there in disbelief that this was something we were even entertaining, and we made jokes, but it just felt very surreal. And sure enough, within a couple of weeks, he sent me the screenshot that said, "You are my sister." And, the mind-boggling thing about it was just, as he sent me this screenshot, it also, you have the notification on your phone from 23andMe, you have a new half-sibling. And so just that realization, it felt like I was on the Truman Show. Like it's just one next thing that hits after another, and we still don't know what's to come.
No, it must have been terrifying, just even that thought of, he's your half-brother who was your boyfriend, but then you also look to the future, and all of a sudden, of course, there are other children involved that are now first cousins, but you don't necessarily know who they all are or where they all are. How are you looking at the future now, Victoria?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, because I want my daughter, who is 8 years old, she's very much aware, at her level as to what's going on, but I want her to be aware. I want her to know that she's going to have a lot of cousins, and we're going to have a lot of family members that, we could choose what we do with those relationships, whether or not we want to get close, but then also in dating and romantic relationships, it's going to be important for her and my son to also be aware, and all of us, all of the half-siblings that I have in our children. I think there's about 50 first cousins that we know of in the New England area right now.
So, as Kat said earlier, Victoria, Dr. Caldwell passed away a few weeks ago. Has he ever faced any legal proceedings? Is Yale Fertility going to face any legal proceedings? Because, of course, there's so many of you that have been affected, and you're trying to get the rules changed, aren't you?
Right, yeah. I mean, there are some cases right now, but they're really not going anywhere because they can't. There's an issue of statute of limitations, current or non-existent, fertility fraud laws, which is why we're pushing so hard. There's 2 active suits right now, but again, I think it's kind of more of just trying to show that this wasn't okay and allowing the victims to have a voice. But I unfortunately am not too optimistic about where the cases will actually go until there's better laws and protections in place.
We did reach out to Yale Fertility, but we haven't heard back from them. It's an extraordinary story, Victoria. You're very brave sharing it as well, but the importance of it is clear. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for taking time to hear this and help me raise awareness.
Thank you, Victoria.
Just a remarkable, remarkable story.
And no limits on the donations or the amount of children that people have.
And a seeming disregard.
Yes.
For any concern as to what he had done and how he had done it.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
We are joined now by disability lecturer Dr. Erin Pritchard and former performer still, Tune Tan. Good morning to you both. You're still performing, aren't you, Tune?
Yes, absolutely.
OK, lovely. Erin, I just got to start with yourself because you had a lot of input in this film. You've actually helped direct these magical creatures and did you help develop them?
Not so much the magical creatures, but the script development and other things within the film, which is kind of difficult to talk about because it's only been released today, so I'm not sure when I can say everything, but I was told when I was asked back in 2021 that they were going to be CGI, these CGI magical creatures, and I thought, well, yeah, because they're not people with dwarfism. They are Norse mythology dwarfs, like leprechauns and stuff, which are not, which is something that most people with dwarfism distance themselves from. And so I felt, right, because they've not got actors with dwarfism, that doesn't mean you can't have an actor with dwarfism doing something else in a film. Because if you just reduce them to that, what are you giving them, basically?
I guess what I was a bit confused about was looking at the trailer there. It looks pretty much like it's CGI dwarfs. So if it's CGI dwarfs, then why didn't they just use actors who were dwarfism?
Well, there's two reasons with that. One, they're more like, say, these, different, like, gnome types sort of things. And secondly, most people with dwarfism who are professional actors who have a background in, performing arts, like Danny Wood graduated from Temple University, Kieran Stamel has a background in performing arts. They won't touch this with a barge pole because they know the implications it has for the rest of us.
What is the implications of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? What is the problem with this actual story? Because it seems like it's all right for dwarfs to play dwarf characters in some films, but not in others. So what is the issue with this film?
Well, when Walt Disney created it in 1937, obviously it was based on Grimm's fairy tale, but he based the depiction of the dwarfs on freak show representations. Now, the freak shows, we left them in the past because the ethical implications of seeing a disabled person as something you can stare at, a novelty, laugh at, and inferior. So now, as my research shows, when people with dwarfism, such as myself and any other person with dwarfism, they get asked, who's happy? Are you happy? Where's Snow White? Oh, she's grumpy. It'll be on social media. Oh, look, she's grumpy. Where's your 6 little friends? And start singing hi-oh at you. So there was a lawyer in Germany and she went up to cross-examine a witness. He burst out laughing at her and started singing hi-ho in a court of law.
But
she was the lawyer, but the witness burst out laughing
But I guess you could argue that this is an opportunity, given the world we live in now, to reframe that narrative using actors with dwarfism. Can we bring Tune in? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, from my experience, I've done pantomime, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I think people can differentiate, from a movie to real life. And I think people that are going to make fun of you, they, look for a way to do it. I personally go out and people are like, oh, isn't it past your bedtime? Where's your mum at? They'll ask in, questions like, is it all in proportion? So I think they'll pick at anything, and I think those types of people. But people with common awareness, they will, show respect.
Tune, what would getting a role like this do for you?
It would be massive. A lot of people, a lot of famous actors now have used these as stepping stones, these kind of roles. They've done pantomime, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and we've always felt respected. So now they're doing big things, a lot of my colleagues, in massive movies.
Doctor, do you think dwarf actors who choose these kind of roles have some sort of responsibility to bear?
Yeah, because if you notice, the ones that actually have made it big, like Peter Dinklage, Meredith Eaton, Kieran Stamel, Fran Mills, they've never touched this role. Because if it's like a poison chalice, if you do this, they're not going to take you seriously because they're just going to see you as this person, oh, you sneezed a couple of times, well done. And yes, people should differentiate between fiction and reality, but as I've shown, they don't. And, you know, I had one woman saying to me, my daughter finds people like you hilarious. Will you dress up as Hello Kitty for her birthday party? Because that's what they see as us. So when, you know, and if you want to play that role, Disney, first of all, will want you to have a background in the performing arts, not just be like, I'm a dwarf, I deserve this role, I want to play it. They'll go, well, give us your resume. Well, hang on, you've got no background in the performing arts, and I can see you've played a goblin. No, I want a professional actor. That's what they're going to tell you. If it's someone that has trained hard, give them opportunities. It doesn't need to be Seven Dwarfs, give them opportunities. And like I said, we can't say that Disney hasn't done that. You know, we just got to wait and see.
Sheen, you wanted to pick up on the Peter Dinklage point, didn't you?
Yeah, I think Peter Dinklage has done a lot of roles where his height has been utilised, and I believe he has done Snow White and Seven Dwarfs pantomime before to, you know, to elevate his career. A lot of my colleagues as well have done that and got into, because you get acting credits from doing such things as pantomime, which is...
Yeah, because didn't Peter get his role in Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Because they needed a dwarf in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
is that right? So,
yeah, and his height was made fun of in Game of Thrones. You know, there was derogatory comments made towards him throughout the series.
I guess the difference there is that the whole narrative is he is the genius in the character. He's, you know, he is this incredibly intelligent man who happens to have dwarfism.
And there's a difference between laughing at you and laughing with you, and having that, like Peter Dinklage, yes, what they showed in Game of Thrones, because like he said, no pointy shoes, no beard, so it wasn't the stereotypical dwarf. And yes, he showed the abuse that we kind of get, but also he had the comebacks. He was a rounded character, not just this thing that sneezed. And from my recollection, and I think it'd be very problematic if you say Peter Dinklage did panto, because they don't have pantos in America. They're British and sort of South American.
I guess the question is, though, who is to differentiate what part an actor with dwarfism should play and what part an actor with dwarfism shouldn't play? Like, culturally, what's acceptable, what isn't acceptable?
I think if you look at it from would you put another minority group in a role where you go, we're just going to have them there based on that minority status?
I don't know.
And laugh at it?
Because, but I don't know. But are we laughing at this? Like, you worked on this film,
well,
so...
I'd like to think that with the minors, we're moving away from... And yes, I had a thing with the script, so... If you look at the Disney, the 1937, you've got Dopey acting very animalistic and we laugh at him. And of course, Dopey wasn't a dwarf. They based him more on somebody with Down syndrome. Now, I think people, if you were to say, right, we're going to have 6 actors with dwarfism and 1 with Down syndrome, people go, and you're letting him perform like that? We're laughing at someone...
But you're taking 1937...
Yeah, but it's still a Disney.
I'm talking about this film here.
Yeah, but it's still Disney, so they're still basing it on, like, having bashful, sleepy, you know, so on.
Well, I think times have progressed on, because I don't think they're being laughed at.
Panto.
I mean...
You are laughed at.
Well, let's talk about let's keep it in the film.
Everybody's quite laughed at Panto, though, isn't it?
But like Tom Shakespeare says, when you come off Panto, the prince takes off his costume. You've laughed at the dwarfs. They don't take off the costume. They're dwarfs that you laugh at. And that's...
From my experience, that's not the case. Like, afterwards, people coming up are showing respect. You know, the kids getting pictures of us. They're like, they look at us with admiration. Just
finish up, because we want this debate to be about this film, rather than Panto. But do you think whatever Disney would have decided, they'd have had problems with this?
Probably. I think, you know, because like quite a lot of people with dwarfism were saying to me, oh, no, I wish they'd just scrap it. Don't do the film. Don't just leave it in the 1937. Yeah. But I felt maybe we can progress this. Now, as you know, with like most of their remakes, there's CGI in it somehow, form or other. And like I said, it's not saying that just because these characters, these magical characters who are not people with dwarfism, are not played by actors with dwarfism, but because, like I said, professional ones that Disney would want are not touching that role. Mm. That doesn't mean that there aren't dwarf actors in other things. And of course, as the producer, he was like, right, well, I want dwarfs doing other things behind the scenes as well. Like, so there was in editing, there was a dwarf when I was there doing access, like, provisions around the studio. And when you make things more accessible, then you can get more disabled actors in that studio for future work as well.
It's fascinating to hear both sides. And, Tune, is there anything you just want to quickly point out?
Absolutely, I think there's a lot of dwarf actors that do want to play this role, which is why there are protests, coming up for this. And I think it's an opportunity for us. It looks like an amazing movie. I would have loved to have played a part in it. Okay. And there's many other colleagues that I know that would have loved to play the part as well.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Here now are Spirit and Missy, who definitely aren't one-trick ponies. They are therapy miniature Shetlands who visit schools, care homes and hospitals to boost people's moods.
That was certainly the case for 9-year-old Gracie, whose life changed for the better after meeting the pony. She's here now with her mum, Alice, alongside Spirit and Mrs. owner, Jess. Good morning, guys.
Morning, everybody.
Hello there. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Lovely to see you, Jess. Let's start talking to you first of all. So, your mum, first of all, rescued a Shetland pony.
Yes, her name was Amy.
Yeah.
And she was actually rescued off the back of a meat wagon. She'd had her foal ripped away from her. We lost her when she was 42 years old.
She reached a good age.
She did indeed. She had a very full life.
Yeah.
She was a typical Shetland, full of character.
Yeah. So this was where your passion started, essentially.
Yes.
So what impact do you see the horses having on people?
So horses are really non-judgmental and they just bring such joy. They just brighten up a room. Yeah. I mean, Grace, as soon as she sees Spirit, that's it. You know, her heart's melted, isn't it? Yeah.
I thought one of the things as well, Jess, you explained that actually you were watching this morning and that's where you got the idea to use the Shetlands and the miniature ponies that you had in this way.
Yes. So it was KL pony therapy with the guide horse Digby. I was watching and it inspired me as I'd had Bella, my little black Shetland at that time, wanted to share the love and the happiness that I could see it would bring to many others that couldn't have that accessibility.
Yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. So can you tell us who have we got here?
So this is Spirit, the teddy bear.
Yes.
Who stole Grace's heart.
Yeah.
And this is Missy, the unicorn, who's also a little sassy pants.
Yes, and they're both very glittery.
They
and
are.
Very stylish.
Yes, that's the magical unicorn, so coming out.
Look at
And look,
Gracie.
Gracie, you love Spirit, don't you?
Yes.
What do you like to do with Spirit?
I like to lead her and give her lots of hugs.
Lots of hugs and cuddles. Does she ever misbehave?
Yes.
What does she do when she misbehaves? Does she run around and get excited?
Not listen a little bit, maybe.
Does she try and walk off stage?
And Alice, good morning. You're Grace's mum.
Yes.
So tell me, how did Gracie first meet Teddy?
So we started going to, Jess was running Easter events, so she runs lots of events during the school holidays. So we started going to those and we just noticed such a massive difference to Gracie. She'd been really struggling in mainstream school and we were awaiting a specialist provision. And my husband has a very complex medical condition. He spends half the year in hospital. So Gracie has a really hard home life. I think things can be really upsetting for her. And she's just so happy every time she sees Spirit. She counts down the days till we go, and then she loves it. And then afterwards, she's so much happier and so much more settled after. So I think it's not just when she's with Spirit, it's the before and after as well. It just means so much to her.
And her experience with spending time with the ponies means that she's been able to get back to school?
Yes, so she's just started at a fantastic new school and they have 2 therapy dogs.
They've got dogs as well?
Like Buddy, like our Buddy.
Like our Buddy. So what are the dogs called, Gracie?
Snoopy and Lita.
And are they well behaved?
Yes.
OK. And I think some of your friends from school are watching this morning, aren't they? So if you want to have a look at camera 2, you can say hello. There you go. They're all watching. It's extraordinary, Jess, seeing the difference in Gracie, hearing what Alice is saying about the difference it's made to her life. We've seen people talk about the difference that Buddy will make eventually when he's properly trained and he can go and be a part of a family with somebody who's dealing with complex needs as well. What's it like for you and everybody that works with you?
It's amazing. It's inspirational. And it's so heartwarming to watch and actually see the progress of everybody. nothing else beats animal therapy to me.
No. Because you have other animals as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I've got the 4 therapy ponies, I've got therapy rabbits, therapy guinea pigs, we've got our star of the show is a little cockerel who cock-a-doodle-oos on command.
On command?
On command.
And you got the idea, actually, for this therapy from seeing the show.
Yeah.
From on here.
I think it's one of the things that I've been lucky enough to work with a few animal therapy groups, and I've seen footage of the dinky donkeys going into care homes, particularly. And you do that with your ponies, don't you?
Yes, so we go into care homes, we go to schools, educational settings, hospices. We do a lot with Acorns Children's Hospice. We volunteer for them. And one of the most special moments was actually a lady that I met in a care home that was really subdued, didn't socialise at all. And I found all about her history, that she was a jockey in her earlier years. The staff knew nothing of this.
Because she didn't talk to anybody.
She didn't talk to anybody. She'd got no family. So, you know, it was a different life for her after that. She really interacted with the home. We did regular visits.
To be able to access, and you'll be able to speak to this with regards to Gracie's experience, access the opportunity to communicate with people thanks to these animals is just so important, isn't it?
Yeah, Gracie's always really struggled with her speech and language, but she really enjoys reading to spirits, so that's really good practice for her and really educational. So it's just been amazing. She's just loves it.
We can see how proud she is. And Gracie, we're very proud of you as well. So we've got your little present that we thought you might quite like. Of some bits and pieces in here that you can take to school and you can show your friends at school. There's all sorts of things in here. Are you getting some more stuff?
Yes, and we've got all the bits and pieces to take to school so you can show all of your chums and your friends. And look, it's like a unicorn. So it is actually... There you go, darling.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you. You're doing such an amazing job. And you love it so much, don't you?
Yeah.
There you go, that's for you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Jess, thank you for bringing the horses in as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
That's no small mission, but it's lovely to have them in the studio. Really special. Makes us all feel very happy.
Thank
Oh,
you.
hello.
Thank
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
4-year-old Letitia Jones makes £5,000 a week from selling her toenail clippings, old bed sheets, and even bottles of spit to strangers online.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And after earning enough to pay off her debts and buy her first home, she's now helping other women, like Freya, to do exactly the same. They're with us both now this morning. Good to see you both. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
So, Letitia, if we go back, because as Kat was saying, you had dreams and aspirations of being a doctor growing up.
Yeah, that's sort of kind of been the main thing, really. Like, I used to sit at home and, like, watch Casualty and stuff in front of the TV. And, like, that was kind of always where, like, my education had gone to. So I went to university and I studied biomedical science. And then I left in the second year.
So you had these aspirations of doing something and being a doctor and helping people. And, of course, now that's changed significantly in a very different world now. But what happened at university? Why were you on that path and then suddenly decided this isn't working?
I just think, really, like, I'm very money motivated. And I think when I was younger, I didn't really understand to what degree that I loved to make money. So, like, the first kind of inkling of, like, when it was lockdown and, like, OnlyFans kind of came out on the rise and I just thought, well, you know what, like, I can do it whilst I'm still in uni. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. So that
you were
kind of
accruing
happened.
debts at university as well,
Yeah, and everything was just, like, one thing after another and I just thought, oh, it's got to be, like, a better way to do this. Like, I was working a part-time job too and everything was just, like, I just wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't, like, fulfilling me in the way that I thought that it would have done. So really the biggest factor was money.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's one kind of train of thought for doing OnlyFans. Where did the idea even come from? Had you heard somebody else was doing it and was making a vast amount of money doing it?
So it didn't come from anyone else, really, like another person. It came from a customer. So they'd messaged me and said, like, oh, this is, like, really weird, but I'm just wondering if, like, you will sell me your spit or shower water. And I was thinking, what on earth? Like,
yes,
think it was a joke,
yeah,
wasn't it?
What went through your head?
I thought at first like he was joking, like it was just someone like just trying to take the mick or whatever. So I was just like, oh yeah, whatever, like not expecting him to be like, okay, then actually send it to me. Like I didn't even know like what the process would be, how to send it, what courier I use. Like I didn't know anything. But it came from him, and he was just like, oh well, it's like a big like community of us who like weird and odd stuff. So I was just like, well, if it's there, then.
So then what did you do? Did you get onto Google and you were like, right, how much can I charge for this? What other things will
So I
people
actually
like?
charged £40 for the spit the first time, and that is, compared to now, what the prices are now is like shocking.
So how many years have you been doing this now?
So four or 5 years now.
Okay, so in those 4 or 5 years, the amount that you sell these peculiar items to people for, to the men, has significantly gone up?
Yes.
Okay, we'll come to that in a little bit, because that in itself is fascinating. How did you feel, though, about selling these things, very personal things that are sort of quite odd and a bit squeamish to think about? How did you feel about putting those in a post and sending it to somebody?
I think at the time when I first started, I didn't really think. I think only since like I've properly been posting on TikTok and like everybody else has kind of been like, oh, that's a little bit weird. I've then been like, maybe it is a bit strange. Like I was just like, oh, whatever, like blasé about it.
Because you were making money?
Yeah, so I wasn't really thinking. And like people say like, oh, what if you get framed for a crime and blah, 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 like they're cloning you. I don't really think too much into it, because I'm like, oh, well, you sell your clothes on like Vinted or eBay or wherever, and people are still getting a part of you. Like you might leave your sweat on there, you might leave something on the clothes that you don't necessarily know of.
So one of the concerns that other people have had is if you're sending them your DNA, they could use your DNA to then sort of set you up for a crime down the line.
Yeah.
That feels like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. However, the process of selling second-hand clothing on a platform like that you suggested, you don't think is that far removed from selling more personal, physical items from your being?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little bit naive. I don't know how far people think into it. I don't really like to delve too much into like thinking about it. I'm just like, well, somebody else is going to do it, so it might as well be me.
And tell me, who is your demographic? Like, who is your audience? What type of man or woman, actually? Yeah, customer.
Yeah.
Who would...
So it's really broad, like it's very vast. Like it could go from like being a middle-aged like businessman to like a 24-year-old uni student or something. Like there is no in-between at all. My customers usually are male, but like there's lots of customers on the websites that are also female too.
You have bought your first property, paid off all your debts?
Yeah.
Bought your first property?
Yeah.
You're looking to buy another property now?
She's an entrepreneur.
Exceptionally lucrative
Yes, it is, yeah.
line of work. Do you find it satisfying?
Yeah. And I think from when I started and what I was doing in first to now, it's changed massively. Like I feel so much more like comfortable, and my boundaries are so much more firm and in place. And I feel like I've got much more control over things now. So now compared to before, I love it.
What item is the most lucrative for you? What's the greatest sum of money you've earned for one item?
So the most expensive thing that I've sold is my spit for £1,500.
Okay. And is that to a regular customer?
So I had a long-term kind of relationship with that person.
So he's developed a relationship with
Yeah. But on average now, like there isn't anything really that's sold for less than like £400 or £500 from me.
Now, Freya's sitting alongside you because what you've started... I know, it's extraordinary.
It is amazing, though. No,
what you've started to do is you've started to reach out to other people who may be interested in it and help and guide them so they don't make the mistakes that you made up front.
Yeah.
How did you get involved then, Freya?
Do you know what? It was actually a bit of a weird one. It was in 2021. I came across Letitia's TikTok. It was your kitchen bin. And it was being like double bagged, put into a box, sent off. And it was just...
You sold your bin to somebody, Lydia?
Yeah.
The contents of your
the kitchen bin, yeah.
Okay, sorry for
So that absolutely... I know, it was like, what is going on here? So then I started following Letitia. It was probably about a year later. I then thought, oh, do you know what? I'm going to get her guide. Obviously, that's when it was your original.
Yeah. And now you have a community of girls that you're helping. And you've bought in some things that you sell. Now, talk us through what you've got on the table down there, starting with this one on the right. Is that your hair?
That's my hair. It's a mix of my actual hair and my hair extensions, obviously just to kind of bulk it out a bit.
And if you were to sell that, how much do you think you would get for that?
obviously I'm fairly new into this, so that's maybe like a £50 kind of.
Pot,
Would you?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, as you're building up your reputation in your
Yeah,
client base.
exactly.
Okay, next to that we've got...
Toenails.
My
Letitia's.
toenails.
These, I imagine, would be quite prized possessions.
So I'm keeping those because the toes I've got on now need to also go in that pot. So that is £600 for the customer. He's already bought them, but I can't give them to him yet. So
there's not enough.
Because he wants 2 sets.
Yes.
Left and right.
Yeah.
And then next to that is your...
Acrylic nails. Those are actually sold.
They're sold.
So they're off tomorrow. I'm going to send those. So they went for 40.
40.
But they're just my normal.
They're just your acrylics. And then there's some slippers as well.
Also sold.
Sold as well.
So they're off to America. Those.
And they're off to America.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long trip. What do your friends and family make of it?
So I think at first everyone was kind of like, Letitia, what is going on? Like, this is so strange. And I think because nobody really talks about it, nobody really knows that this is a real thing. But I think once everyone kind of got over the initial shock, everyone was just like, well, hey, if you're doing it and you're safe and you're enjoying it and you're making money and you're not feeling like you've got to do anything that you don't want to do, then hey, carry on.
And Freya, long term, I mean, obviously you're building up your business, but long term, how far do you see into the future doing something like this, or do you see it as a stepping stone to something different?
I mean, I think Letitia's been such an inspiration. So really, just following your footsteps.
Just doing what she's done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you, Letitia, when you had aspirations to become a doctor, some of the best people in society, and helping those people, do you ever sort of think, God, what happened to that dream? Or are you thinking, you know what, I'm a businesswoman now, regardless of what my product is, I've got customers that I'm satisfying, and I'm building a life for myself and my family, and that's all that matters?
I think I see it as my main goal. I'm like a really caring person, so I think that my goal for being a doctor has come from wanting to help people. So I feel like with what I'm doing now with our community, like I am still helping the women, because I'm opening them up to something that they can do safely that they would not have known about before, and I'm making them and helping them make money in a way that they wouldn't have been able to before. So in my opinion, I feel like I'm doing the same thing, just in a different way. Like I still feel like I'm helping people. I'm just not in a hospital.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
absolutely fascinating. You would never think that
there was a market for everything. Really.
There is.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for chatting
I'm
this
sure
morning.
our viewers will have very strong opinions about it.
I'm ready.
But regardless, you have set yourselves up, and you're sort of self-sufficient, and you know you're safe, which is crucial as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Look, Jim is here to talk with us today about a cause that's very close to his heart.
After seeing the work conducted by charity Marie Curie firsthand, Jim is supporting them on their new campaign to fix end-of-life care.
Yeah, research by the charity has found that 1 in 4 people do not get the care that they need at their end of life. And so he's joining them with a call for the government to try and take some more action. This is a cause, as we said, very close to your heart. How did you get to know about Marie Curie, Jim?
I can't really remember, Ben. I mean, I've been an ambassador for Marie Curie for about 10 years. I can't remember what the initial connection was, but a very good friend of mine nursed his sister through the end of life. And she was only in her 50s and had terminal cancer, and he couldn't have done it without the support that Marie Curie gave him. I mean, but in sort of coming to the home, she saw the end of her life at home, which is what most of us would want, I think, wouldn't we, rather than in a hospital or a hospice. And seeing how they supported his sister and him, because the carer, I mean, obviously it's psychologically really difficult and exhausting to care for someone at that stage. So I thought, well, this is fantastic. They're great at what they do. They're the leading end-of-life sort of providers. So I'm very happy to support them, and particularly in this new Fix the End of Life campaign. Because, you want the end of life to be it's hard enough.
Yes.
So you want it to be easy. You want to be surrounded by family if you can. I think most people would prefer to die at home. And at the moment, in the last year of life, about 80% of finance goes into hospital care, and of that, about half goes into emergency A&E care, and only 4% goes into palliative care. And we'd like the government, who are looking at this situation, they're coming up with a new 10-year strategy for the NHS. So this seems like the perfect time to talk about, could you look at long-term strategy for palliative care so everybody's got access to it in the way that's best for them, really. And, you know, Marie Curie are very strong on this.
They're a remarkable charity. I know how closely one of my good friends, Chris Kamara, Cammy, works with them, and the difference that they made to his mother-in-law's life at the end of her care. And the Daffodil campaign is such a massive campaign for them, isn't it?
It is. I mean, this is March. This is the daffodil. This is the season of daffodils in the garden. It's the Daffodil campaign, and I think this is the 39th year of the Marie Curie. Yeah. So we you know, we'd ask everyone to try and support Marie Curie at this moment. I think last year we raised 1.3 million. So if people can go to the Marie Curie website, there's all sorts of different ways that you can support. You know, and their work. Getting nurses into homes and their research and this current Fix the End of Life Care campaign, it all goes to support that. So go to the website and have a look, see how you can help out. That'd be great.
I think one of the really important things, as you say, the government's doing this review, and that we know that they've said that they're going to be investing money into this as well to help support the work of hospices and end-of-life care. Is it?
They're putting 100 million in, which is fantastic, but that's sort of going into bricks and mortar facilities, you know, and if you're not near a hospital or a hospice, then, you know, it can be a bit patchy, that. I mean, I'm not knocking it in any way. And, you know, Marie Curie worked very closely with the NHS. And if we can take some of the burden off hospitals and ambulance services and the 999 service by getting more nurses into homes, more care into homes, sort of in the community, away from the hospitals, then it frees up the hospitals for the work that they do so well. And that would be the brilliant thing to do, I think. So it's a long-term strategy, but, you know, the last government review about 7 or 8 years ago didn't really touch on palliative care. We're all getting older.
Yes.
You know, there's so many more.
Everybody will need some help at some stage.
Because one thing's sure, you know, we have one life, you know, and we're all it's going to end at some time. So it'll benefit everybody.
So opening up the conversation too.
I think that's so important to be able to talk about death in a kind of a reasoned way, not to be frightened of it, because we know it's going to happen. So, you know, simple things like, have you made a will? What music do you want at your funeral? Those sort of things, because it's traumatic enough dying without leaving family going, sort of, what bank was Mum with, or what music would she want at her funeral? She wouldn't want the Stones. You don't
know. She could be a bit of a goer.
She could be, you know, Jumping Jack Flash. You never know. So all those conversations, make them as normal as possible. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It just can be a sort of a general thing. You know? And start at any age. Don't wait till it's late.
For sure. We don't have that long with you this morning, Jim, but we've got to ask you about Downton as well before you go. New movie, what can you tell us?
I can tell you, I think I'm allowed to tell you that it's opening on September the 12th. Great. That's very good. The third film. That's exciting.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. No. I think we're going to see it soon.
Okay.
But so no, it's going to be a mystery to me. I know I filmed certain parts of it in the Great Yorkshire Showground in Harrogate, which is 300 yards from where I was born.
Oh, wow.
And I learned to ride my bicycle on the Great Yorkshire Showground.
And it's a role, you've always said that customs is the role that you were born to play.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, isn't that extraordinary that then the heritage of you growing up and then there you were being him?
There I was being him back home, yeah. And the weird thing is the Great Yorkshire Showground, I mean, I tell Imelda, my wife, this, and she laughs. In the 50s, there was very little excitement in Harrogate and there were no traffic lights. So when the Great Yorkshire Show was on for 3 days in July, there was traffic jams. We would make a picnic and sit on the wall and watch the traffic jam. I'm not looking for your pity.
Dizzy heights of excitement.
Was that where Bessie's Tea Room started? It was basically to come and watch the traffic jam.
Betty's, yes. Let's get a fat rascal from Betty's and watch the traffic jam.
That's absolutely amazing.
And is it nice to see the rest of the cast and stuff?
It's great. In fact, I've got a hot date in about 10 days' time with Mrs. Patmore, Mrs. Hughes, Daisy the maid, and Mr. Barrow, the naughty footman who became my successor as butler. So we meet up for dinners from time to time and dish the dirt sort of thing. So,
I bet it was magical getting back together, although missing Dame Maggie, of course.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, what a, you know, we won't see her like again, really. Somebody, I mean, an iconic figure who, you know, who's career started in classical theatre and then expanded to worldwide fame, you know, winning Oscars at the drop of a hat, and how lucky we were to have worked so closely with her for so long in Downton Abbey, you know, I mean...
Those lines as well that she'd deliver.
Gosh, zing, zing.
They were
Yeah.
so good.
Get me back another time and I'll tell you about when Maggie Smith met Shirley MacLaine. I mean, that was a meeting of that.
Divas!
Wow.
Yeah.
We need that. We need the inside on that.
Yeah,
For sure.
Jim, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
As we say, really, really pleased that you're coming in and talk a lot about the Marie Curie end-of-life care campaign. I think it's really, really important.
Thank you for your support on that. That's really appreciated.
And we'll pass on your comments to Sam as well. He'll be thrilled to know you had your head in your hands as he tried his best.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Ruth Ellis's story is something our first guest today knows all too well.
Yeah, as Ruth's granddaughter, Laura Enston, grew up in a family that was haunted for generations by murder and, of course, execution. But Laura joins us now to tell us why she finally feels proud to call Ruth her grandmother. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Both Kat and I have been gripped to the drama, Laura. It's an extraordinary experience because, of course, we had a vague knowledge of who your grandmother was. We know her name, we know what she represents. But to actually see her story and get to know who she was has been really, really enlightening. And actually, that's something that you battled with for many years because the Ruth Ellis that we've seen in this drama wasn't the Ruth Ellis that you grew up with, is it?
100%. It's night and day. So I grew up thinking that Ruth was the caricature that was portrayed in the press. This sort of social climbing, jealous,
villainess,
cold-blooded killer. And she was just such a different character. So obviously the press had portrayed her in a certain way. That was reinforced in the film in 1985, The Dance with a Stranger. So ultimately, I grew up thinking Ruth was this person. And ultimately, I spent probably 40 years distancing myself from it. You know, I think I took on the shame and the embarrassment of what had happened and just didn't want a part of it. So I turned it into a secret, which I now realise how debilitating it is, you know, walking around with a massive secret. And I was petrified about people finding out. And it's just been the most wonderful experience, understanding the real Ruth. And we've, you know, the book that Carol Ann Lee, which obviously the drama's based on, A Fine Day for a Hanging, just incredible. And I only read that a couple of years ago.
Really?
And it was during lockdown. I was living in Canada at the time, started reading this book, and I was just blown away by what I'd read, and I felt completely re-educated.
And this was only a few years ago.
Correct, yeah.
So why had you, as a member of her family, not had the actual story and had been sort of deceived by what the press had written about her for decades?
Because ultimately, there was so much evidence at the time that was sort of concealed. So Carol Ann Lee's book that was published a few years ago, you know, the research that she went into just uncovered so many facts and exposed so many flaws in her defence and how she was treated, and just really gave some context to the type of woman that Ruth was, you know, in post-war Britain, when, you know, women, you know, weren't being encouraged to work. They were very much being ushered back into the home to be good little housewives. Ruth was the antithesis of that. And ultimately, you know, we, as a family, you know, didn't have this information.
Yeah, because you mentioned your family there. So your mum was Georgina.
Correct, yes.
And Georgina was Ruth's daughter who was sent away.
She was sent away. Ultimately, George Ellis, so Ruth's husband, did a deal with Ruth and said, I'll give you a divorce, but you have to give up custody of Georgina.
Right.
That's what happened. So Georgina went up to Manchester.
And that was your mum?
Correct, yes.
And so what was your mum like? And did your mum tell you anything about your grandmother?
She did, but she only told me the story that she knew. And ultimately, she really leaned in on the sort of the sordid side of Ruth's life, and she almost used it to sort of justify her behaviour. My mum was, you know, incredibly beautiful. She had very high-profile relationships with
like
George
your
Best.
grandmother as well, by the way.
100%.
I mean, that's
wow, look, those pictures. Look
so George Best, Richard Harris. You know, my mum knew everybody. You know, she would walk into a room, the room would turn. You know, she was so charismatic. She had so much going for her.
And she enjoyed that notoriety?
Yeah, 100%. She really leaned in on it. And for me, I was sort of leaned the complete opposite direction. I didn't want to be a part of it, but it was quite difficult as a child growing up because Mum was so prolific. She knew everyone knew her. So as a child growing up, it was quite difficult to distance myself from it. As I got older, and obviously we had a different surname and stuff, it became easier. So when I went into the workplace, people and sort of started making new friends, people didn't know. So I've been having to go around friends that I've known 25 years and to say, hey, surprise, I've got something to tell you.
And so you're trying to distance yourself from what your mum's going through, which is enjoying the notoriety and being on the front pages of newspapers and dating the likes of George Best in his heyday.
Yeah.
But also you were saying at school you got bullied over what happened.
100%.
Talk us through what would happen at school.
Oh, it started from, as long as I can remember, people would shout in the playground, or your mum, your grandma's a murderer, a prostitute, and as I got older, there was a group of girls at school who would, sort of send me little notes in class, draw the little handman game, just sort of push them under my desk. And I sort of grew up.
Did you have anyone you could share that with, or anyone you could
Not
tell?
really, no. And I think ultimately in my quest not to be defined by it, I turned it into a secret and didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And, I realised how damaging that is. I think it's taken up so much of me as a person.
Yeah. And it was only during lockdown when you were listening to Elizabeth Day's podcast.
We had her on a such a brilliant podcast.
She's absolutely brilliant.
Incredible.
And How to Fail.
How to Fail.
And you
I
started
to think, what have I failed at in life? And at the time I was listening to some other podcasts talking about trying to get a better understanding of childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is what's happened to me. At the age of 7 years old, when I find out who my grandmother is, the armour goes up.
Yeah.
And it never actually came down again.
No.
So I was having a better understanding about, what I'd failed at in life. Ultimately, in my quest not to be defined by the legacy, I had been defined by it because I'd kept it a secret. And I think it has certainly affected me professionally and personally, there's no doubt about it. And I was listening to childhood trauma, understanding that piece, thinking actually what I've been through is a childhood trauma. And I now realise that, and I was always quite dismissive of it as a kid. You think, oh, other people have been through worse, who cares? But now I realise that all childhood trauma is valid and worthy of conversation and therapy if needed.
It's been an amazing shift. It's lovely to hear the enthusiasm and passion you're talking about your grandmother now and her legacy, which is yours, of course, and the pride that you have to be her granddaughter. So much so that you're launching a petition to try and sort of get some sort of retrospective pardon or something?
Correct, yes. So this has all happened in the last 24 hours.
Okay.
So we have instructed Mishcon Derea.
Who's in the drama series. He plays the lawyer.
So Victor Mishcon, his firm, approached us, and ultimately they are really passionate about continuing and fixing this. And seeking a pardon for Ruth. And ultimately, we're looking for public support. So we've set up a crowdfunding page. If you Google Crowd Justice Ruth Ellis, that page will come up. But we feel like there's with all this new evidence, there's certainly something to explore here.
It's an extraordinary thing watching in the drama, watching what a proud, strong-willed, ambitious and driven woman she was. And she was absolutely didn't want anybody's sympathy at any point. It's fascinating to see, even though constantly people are saying, look, if you change the way you're going about your defence, we wouldn't necessarily have to face the death penalty, but she refused to do it. She was so principled. She's an extraordinary woman.
Incredible. She was, a modern-day woman, if you think about what she'd achieved. In the face of adversity, she'd been abused, by every significant man in her life. And despite that, in 1955, she was a single mother. She was running a thriving business. She had an apartment above the club, looking after her 2 kids. She had loads of money. She had loads of savings, and everything sort of started to unravel when David Blakely, walked into her life.
Well, look, good luck with the petition.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
put the details out there so our viewers can have a look and see what it is.
Thank you.
But thank you for coming in. You can see the pride in you now as well, Laura. It's really lovely to see. You can stream that dramatisation if you haven't seen it yet, a Ruth Ellis story.
Absolutely brilliant.
It is really gripping on ITVX. And if you'd like to learn more about the documentary, The Real Ruth Ellis Story, that's also on ITVX.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.